Hey guys, hope you're doing well and having a good night's sleep because, well, it's Euros at night and Copa America in the morning. So for the football fans in Asia, it's really tough out there. I get that. Anyways, today we'll talk about the Xiaomi Mi 11X Pro, which is also known as the Mi 11i or the Redmi K40 Pro Plus in some regions. Now, Xiaomi has launched a lot of phones under the Mi 11 lineup, so it's understandable if their names are confusing. The one our team has been testing for around a month is the Mi 11X Pro, which is a slightly downgraded version of the flagship Mi 11. Its base variant starts at 40,000 Indian rupees, making it one of the cheapest flagship phones to come with Snapdragon 888. So in this video, we will discuss about if you should go for the Mi 11X Pro or if you should get the Mi 11 or the vanilla OnePlus 9 instead. Let's get into it. Okay, when I said that the Mi 11X Pro is a slightly downgraded version of the Mi 11, well, performance does not count in that. Its Snapdragon 888 chipset is coupled with 8 GB of DDR5 RAM and UFS 3.1 storage. As a result, Mi 11X Pro's performance is undoubtedly flagship level. To compare, I would say that it is slightly faster than the Snapdragon 870 powered phones like the Mi 11X and the iQOO 7, and this is noticeable when you open heavy apps or try multitasking between them. Still, I think the Snapdragon 870 is the most value for money flagship chipset of 2021. Plus, with every Snapdragon 888 powered phones, you will encounter some sort of heating issues, and sadly that's present on the Mi 11X Pro too. So this phone does heat up when playing GPU intensive games or recording 4K or 8K videos and the likes. Okay, talking of gaming, playing Genshin Impact in the high graphics setting and 60 FPS mode, the gameplay runs smoothly at 58 FPS and over 90% stability. Likewise, PUBG Mobile can hit 60 FPS in HDR graphics and extreme frame rates with 96% stability. Okay, Call of Duty, which is a slightly optimized game than the other two, yields 60 FPS with 100% stability in very high graphics and max frame rates. However, in higher settings, the Mi 11X Pro heats up quite rapidly, especially near the camera module. With this, the phone becomes quite uncomfortable to hold. So you might want to dial down the settings for better thermal performance. Now, on the software front, many of you guys might know that I'm not such a huge fan of MIUI, and before the recent update, there even were these underlying touch issues in the display of this phone where a certain portion of the screen would fail to register any input, and subsequently I could not scroll through the UI. But thanks to the MIUI 12.5 update that I recently received on July 1st, these problems have now been fixed. Moving on, while the performance of this phone is top class, I have to say that the design aspect of the Mi 11X Pro is quite basic. In fact, if not for the mirrored finish, it basically looks like the much cheaper Poco F3. And just like the OnePlus 9, its hands-on feel is nothing better than an upper mid-range one. In comparison, Mi 11's matte back, metal frames, and slight curves on the sides feel so much premium and ergonomic, even though both these phones share the same weight. Plus, to keep the price lower, Xiaomi has cut corners in multiple aspects of the Mi 11X Pro. For instance, there is no IP68 certification, no wireless charging, and the front as well as the back are only protected by Gorilla Glass 5. But to be fair, these omissions are something that you can absolutely live without. The one aspect though where Xiaomi maybe should not have cut corners is in the fingerprint sensor, as this one comes with a capacitive side-mounted one instead of an in-display fingerprint reader. In Xiaomi's defense, it is a reliable one, but then again, an in-display fingerprint sensor on such an expensive phone almost feels mandatory. And one more thing, like the OnePlus 9, the Mi 11X Pro is limited to two 5G bands only, and seeing how cheaper devices like the Realme X7 Max support much more 5G bands, this does not feel right, to be honest. Nevertheless, the Mi 11X Pro boasts a really good display. It is not QHD like the Mi 11, but that does not really matter much. It's sufficiently bright, has good viewing angles, and more importantly, it produces excellent colors and contrast. Moreover, it is equipped with a fast 120Hz refresh rate, and couple that with a 360Hz touch sampling rate, the scrolling and typing experience on this phone is pretty great. Likewise, it is also HDR10 Plus compliant with 100% DCI-P3 color coverage. Sadly, the Mi 11X Pro does not have DC dimming feature, although the company has included SGS certification for low blue light emissions. Anyway, because of its big screen, watching movies and web series on this phone is going to be a riveting experience. Xiaomi has paired it with a good set of stereo speakers too. Although not true stereo, meaning the other speaker also doubles as an earpiece, I am quite impressed with their quality. You can notice good details and dynamic range from the speakers of the Mi 11X Pro, while they can get quite loud as well.
Lucky, lucky, lucky me. Lucky, lucky, lucky me. I won, got it done. Lucky, lucky, lucky me. Lucky, lucky, lucky. I won't let the door hit when I leave.
Okay, now let's get into the cameras. Here, the Mi 11X Pro features a triple camera setup at the back consisting of a 108 megapixel primary Samsung ISOCELL HM2 sensor, followed by an 8 megapixel ultra-wide and a 5 megapixel macro camera. On paper, the 108 megapixel sensor seems quite impressive, but in real life, the overall camera quality is just above average. And all of this has a lot to do with the most difficult aspect of photography, the color optimization. You see, when we compared it against the more expensive Mi 11, we found out that the Mi 11X Pro's cameras produce wildly saturated output. The pictures are sharp though, but you will notice a lot of unnatural detail processing going on. Now, bringing the OnePlus 9 into the mix, it too saturates the images in certain scenarios, but the Mi 11X Pro just goes an extra mile. Being a proper flagship phone with the top-of-the-line HMX sensor, it's evident how the Mi 11 is the most superior of the bunch. Ultra-wide-angle images from all three look good and are well detailed. Thankfully, the Mi 11X Pro's cameras do not boost the colors so much here. I was surprised with how the OnePlus 9 did not have a superior output, given its higher res 50 megapixel lens produced similar results compared to the Mi 11X. The Mi 11 reigns superior here as well, with a slightly better dynamic range. Okay, as for the portraits, once again, the Mi 11 takes the cake here with better skin color, while the OnePlus 9 brightens the subject a bit more. On the other hand, the Mi 11X Pro darkens and sharpens the images unnecessarily. Hence, the portraits are not that great on the Mi 11X Pro. Even selfies share the same properties as portraits. Skin tone is brighter on the OnePlus 9, darker on the Mi 11X Pro, while the Mi 11 has the most pleasing and natural color reproduction. Selfie portraits carry the same traits, whereas edge detection is not perfect in either of them. But when it comes to nighttime images, all three phones perform well enough. It's just that the OnePlus 9 has a warmer tone with slightly boosted colors and somewhat lesser details than the rest. On the other hand, the Mi 11X Pro and the Mi 11 managed to take in a little more light and maintain slightly better details. That being said, the Mi 11's images are usually the brightest with a slightly better level of detail than the other two. Turning on the night mode, all three cameras do a very good job. It's just with the ultra-wide-angle nighttime images that the OnePlus 9 struggles, as evident with the muddiness and lack of detail in its photos. On the contrary, this is one area where the Mi 11X Pro does things better, followed by the Mi 11. Okay, next up, macro images from the Mi 11X Pro and Mi 11 look almost similar in terms of details, but the Mi 11 has a more natural color tone. I would rate OnePlus's macro images to be a slightly lesser quality. Now, on to the videography side of things. All three phones offer you 8K 30fps recording option, but among them, the OnePlus 9 has the most stable output, while the Mi 11 crops the footage largely to maintain better stabilization. In other resolutions like 4K 60 or 4K 30fps, footages are stable and detailed from all three devices. Moving on to the ultra-wide-angle videos, the OnePlus 9 offers up to 4K 60fps mode, while that's missing on the Mi 11 and the Mi 11X Pro. Okay, about the selfie videos, we're slightly disappointed to see the lack of 4K recording options on the Mi 11X Pro, but the 1080p 30 and 60fps videos have good quality and stabilization too. However, you will notice a slight red tint on the subject's skin, which is not very natural looking, and apart from that, the microphone quality is good as well. With all this, it's clear that the Xiaomi Mi 11X Pro's cameras are in fact inferior to the Mi 11 and the OnePlus 9. And it's a little annoying to see the company not provide a similar level of camera optimization as the Mi 11. That's because the Mi 11X Pro features the same image signal processor and its 108 megapixel sensor is flagship level 2. So I really don't understand this discrimination. Anyway, finally getting into the battery life, with its 4520 mAh cell, I managed to get around 6 to 6.5 hours of screen on time, with my usage pattern consisting of a lot of video streaming, playing games and web browsing and social media consumption. So I would say that its battery endurance is quite good. Plus it has good standby time unlike the OnePlus 9. As for charging, despite featuring a lower rated 33-watt charger compared to the OnePlus 9 65-watt or the 55-watt charger on the Mi 11, the Mi 11X Pro takes only 51 minutes to get fully juiced up, which is not that bad at all. Okay, now it's time for the moment of truth. After having used the Mi 11X Pro by our team for such a long time, for the most part we have not been satisfied with it because of its underlying touch issues, as it made our experience truly bitter. But just before publishing this video, our unit received the update which fixed the issue, which has made us change our verdict altogether. Hence, for the price of 40,000 Indian rupees or some 65,000 rupees here in Nepal, the Mi 11X Pro is indeed a great offering. Its excellent price to performance ratio compared with good battery life and the top-notch display is a great combo. Plus, unlike Xiaomi's mid-range phones, there is no problem with software optimization either. Still, the camera is one aspect where our expectations have fallen short. So if you are someone who's looking for a premium camera experience, then the Mi 11X Pro is definitely not the best option for you. For that, you're better off adding a bit more money to get the Mi 11 or the Galaxy S21 instead. For what it's worth, even the OnePlus 9 provides slightly better camera experience than the Mi 11X Pro. So that was all for our review of the Mi 11X Pro. If you like this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, and while you're in there, please do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon as well. Till then, I'm Pratima. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.